6 Novemba tutakuwa Kangemi, Odhiru, Kinoo, Wangige, Kikuyu, Dagoretti, Satellite, Nairobi West, South C, South B, Ngong Road, Kibera, Karen, Ngong na Rongai. Pata app ya Risiti Legit kwa Google Play Store au App Store kwa maelezo ya kuingia katika mashindano ya Risiti Legit. G-Nice na Risiti Legit. KRA, tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Wewe ni nani na unataka nini?
Ama kweli hapo kwa kujua mengi hujakosea. Lakini kuna mambo mengine huyajui. Hautakuja kuyajua. Na wala hauna budi kuyajua. Mpaka na hata kuyasikia. Mpaka pengine labda ukifa.
Felista, unabahati kuwa mimi ni mtu mpole na sipendi mshike. Leo hii kichwa chako na kiwiliwili ningehakikisha vimetengana.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
Yani this is how you are thanking me, eh? Kweli wewe na Fuda hakuna hata tofauti.
Do you know how to play your cards? Sema kujitetea.
What is so big with the word mysterious?
I did tell them. That is a very small one, by the way.
Carmen, I usually admire your English.
Okay. Exposure
is a good thing.
Carmen, okay, look at Julia. You see those little colored strings and materials on her hair? Oh, now, look at my hair. Do you see such?
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Well, go on, my brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Cole Jack,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, money especially ukisonga.
PM East African time. Tonight, President William Ruto nominating former IEBC Chair Issa Hassan to take charge at the Independent Policing Oversight Authority.
Plus, tonight, Principal Secretary for the State Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono, is live in studio.
Well, our colleague Regina Manyara delves into the critical areas of Kenya's agricultural future, the shift from imports to local production. Over to you, Regina. What should we expect?
Thank you very much, Tom. Very well said is that agriculture is driving the economy, so to speak, employing at least 40% of the populace directly and 70% of Kenyans indirectly benefiting from agriculture. That may be as it is. However, we are not fully meeting demand in as far as our agricultural output is concerned. So tonight, the man of the moment is already in studio with us, and that is Principal Secretary, State Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono. He's going to be unpacking the interventions that government has put in place to ensure that you and I can manage to at least, have 3 square meals in a day and even surplus for commercial use, exports, as well as just trading within us. That is going to be coming up tonight, and we want you to get on our various social media platforms, including X on KBC Channel 1. We have pertinent questions that we have put out to you there, and we expect that you're going to be giving us the requisite feedback to give, or rather hand over to our guests tonight. Now back to you, Tom and Mchuma.
That's right. As he walks in.
Welcome to Prime Edition on this 12th day of November. My name is Mchuma Odem.
And my name is Tom Boya. Let's take a look at our lead stories tonight. Restoring city's lost glory.
President Ruto whips the city-county leadership and promises a new look. Nairobi. A call for action.
House Committee demands release of 4.5 billion shillings to resolve lecturers' strike. Will the Treasury finally commit? Tracking progress.
Government inspects infrastructural projects at the coastal city of Mombasa.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Tuku.
Now, let's open this live broadcast with our lead story. And President William Ruto has nominated the former chairperson of the Interim Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Ahmed Isaka Hassan, to chair the board of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA.
In a move aimed at filling critical vacancies within various constitutional commissions and state agencies, Ruto also nominated Sami Chepkwony to chair the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, while former Isiolo County woman MP Rehema Dida Jaldesa has been nominated to chair the National Gender and Equality Commission.
That's the report that opens our coverage tonight.
The head of state Tuesday announced a series of nominations for key public offices in response to recommendations from selection panels tasked with identified qualified nominees. The nominees, many of whom have extensive backgrounds in government and politics, are set to play pivotal roles in shaping policy and governance within their respective commissions and boards. Ahmed Isaka Hassan, the former chairperson at IEBC, has been nominated to head an 8-member board at Independent Policing Oversight Authority. Charles Orinda Dulo, an advocate of the High Court, has been nominated to head the Commission on Administrative Justice. Sami Chepkwony, an accomplished human resource professional with over 30 years of experience, will chair the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, while Rehema Dida Jaldesa, former Isiolo County Member of Parliament, has been nominated to head the National Gender and Equality Commission. Gerald Nyaoma Arita, a career central banker with 36 years of experience, previously serving as the director of the Bank's Supervision Department, has been nominated as the Deputy Governor at the Central Bank of Kenya. The nominations will be forwarded to Parliament for consideration.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto says the government is committed to uplifting the face of Nairobi City through clearing garbage and cleaning Nairobi, Mathare and Ngong rivers.
The head of state said that the country's capital, Nairobi, is the gateway to East Africa and therefore must be restored to where the Environment Minister, John Mishuki, if you remember, left off.
The president spoke during a meeting with the Nairobi governor, area members of parliament and the Nairobi Rivers Commission at State House, Nairobi.
As Giverson Maina reports in his story.
The meeting at State House, Nairobi occurred a fortnight after the appointment of the Nairobi Rivers Commission.
Karibuni sana.
The head of state noted that it is time to restore the lost glory of Nairobi City by clearing garbage and clogging and cleaning the rivers.
This is the face of Kenya. Many people who visit Kenya, the first port of call is the city of Nairobi. And therefore, it is important for us to project the image of the country positively. And that starts with the image of the city of Nairobi.
The president conceded that the Nairobi rivers were neglected after the exit of the famous Kibaki era Environment Minister John Michuki.
I know several attempts have been made before. Michuki tried and did a good job, but we dropped the ball after Michuki. So this time round, we want to do Nairobi River Commission in a different way. We want to clean the Nairobi River in a different way, in what other cities around the world have done.
He revealed a plan to build a 54-kilometer long sewer line to help stop waste from being directed to the rivers.
We need to contain the sewer that currently is going to the Nairobi River, to make sure that all the sewer that is now going into the river, we put it in the sewer line and deliver it in the right place. And then, of course, we are going to do other infrastructure. We are going to widen the river to between 20 and 30 meters in different parts.
In conjunction with Nairobi members of parliament, through the NGCDF kitty, the president said 5,000 classrooms would be built to accommodate the huge number of pupils and students in the city. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
A news coming right through the newsroom is that the acting chief executive officer of SHA, Elijah Washira, has been sent on compulsory leave. I'll repeat that one. The acting chief executive officer of SHA, Elijah Washira, has been sent on leave. Remember, that story of SHA ship has been in the lips of many Kenyans and Kenyans across the country, continuing to voice their frustrations over access of healthcare services due to the teething problems that have been faced recently while implementing the Social Health Authority.
A spot check by KBC Channel 1 revealed patients seeking treatment for chronic diseases in Homa Bay and Kajiado counties are experiencing a number of challenges, among them delayed.
Now, this as the government reiterates its commitment to delivering quality healthcare services across all levels of hospitals in the country.
Joseph Wahungu with the details.
Of the new Social Health Authority, SHA, well in its second month, untold pain and suffering continue to be reported by patients seeking medical services in various parts of the country. A section of residents of Homa Bay County claim SHA has failed to provide affordable treatment options, as was the case with the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund.
This new system, which we will call ASHA, or what, SHA, does not work effectively. People go to the hospital, they are admitted, and when they are discharged, no payment. Where is this system, new system, leading to?
In Kajiado County, kidney patients are grappling with similar concerns. Kajiado Referral Hospital's renal unit, which has a capacity of 10 patients, is currently overstretched.
Nimeona wamenitumia message ya 10,500 na NHIF ilikuwa inatuma 9500. Sasa naona SHA inaendelea, ni kwa sababu labda ni mpya ndio watu wanalalamika, lakini sisi imetusaidia.
Hiyo SHA ifanyi kazi. Hadi watoto wadogo tunalipishwa mpaka lap kila kitu, na watoto wadogo below 5 years hawafai kulipishwa. Sasa inabidi tunalipa tu.
This despite Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenko's order that dialysis services be decentralized to both Ngong and Loitoktok district hospitals.
The referral hospital is experiencing congestion, and to decongest the same, we need to open those units in Loitoktok and Ngong, and that we look forward to achieving before the close of this year.
The Ministry of Health is, however, expressing confidence in the new Social Health Authority's ability to deliver more accessible and comprehensive health coverage through the Social Health Insurance Fund. In an interview with KBC Sure FM Radio on Tuesday, Principal Secretary for Public Health and Professional Standards, Mary Muthoni, urged Kenyans to embrace SHIF, terming it the transformative step towards achieving Kenya's universal health coverage goal and bringing quality health care within reach for all. Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
Before we go to Parliament, news reaching our newsrooms at this hour. Acting CEO for the Social Health Authority, Elijah Wachira, has been sent on compulsory leave. I'll take that again. Acting CEO, SHA, Elijah Wachira, has been sent on compulsory leave. Keep on communicating to us on our Tuesday conversation on our socials at KBC Channel 1. And now to the August House. The National Assembly Education Committee now wants the National Treasury to avail at least the 4.3 billion shillings required to resolve the lecturers' strike.
The MPs engaged the University Academic Staff Union and the Inter-Public Universities Council Consultative Forum and observed that Treasury was yet to commit to funding the collective bargaining agreement.
The Education Committee is set to invite the Principal Secretary of Higher Education next week over the matter.
Gishuki Wachira puts that story in perspective.
Those who downed their tolls a fortnight ago have told MPs that there was lack of commitment from the Treasury to finance the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement.
An interministerial committee was convened, chaired by the Principal Secretary Labour, and it was also attended by, in some meetings, the CS Labour and CS Education have attended, and the PS State Department for Higher Education. It is at the interministerial committee that the 4.3 billion was communicated by the government in that interministerial committee.
The return to work formula agreed on a 7 to 10% basic salary increment depending on lecturers' job grades and a 4% annual increase on their basic salary.
Chair, 4.3 billion is not pocket change. And it must be communicated in writing. And you should have been tabling a letter from Treasury saying that this is the communication. They can only give us 4.3, but it can't be 4.3 that is verbal.
You have been talking about 4.3. Now, that was far before. But come on 6th, the PS wrote a letter requesting for commitment. To this day, today is 12th, 1 week after. But from your presentation, there's no reply to this, meaning the PS is evading a commitment that is not willing to carry.
While Dons hold that they need 9.7 billion shillings to implement it, the Ministry of Education has only presented 4.3 billion shillings. The MPs are concerned that Treasury is yet to commit to the proposal by the Ministry of Education.
Give us this 4.3 billion as their budget for the remaining 5.3 billion. But they should not put in their mind that it is only 9.7. There are other items that are supposed to be budgeted for.
The MPs resolved to invite the Principal Secretary for Higher Education, the Cabinet Secretary for Labour, and the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury to shed light on the government's position regarding the implementation of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. Gishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
From the corridors of Parliament to the corridors of justice, 198 residents of Kwachocha area in Malindi are demanding compensation for their land acquired by the Kenya Airports Authority to expand the Malindi International Airport.
Elsewhere, a group of women who allegedly withdrew a total of 11.6 million shillings that had erroneously deposited into their accounts at the Kenya Women Finance Trust Bank have pleaded not guilty to fraud.
The 198 applicants told the court they fear that the Adani takeover of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi will affect all airports in Kenya and jeopardize their compensation. However, Kenya Airports Authority's lawyer Adho Chemeli opposed the application, saying that his client will only relinquish JKA to Adani Group. Justice Mwangi Njoroge of the Environment and Lands Court in Malindi will rule on the matter on 3rd December 2024.
I'll give you a ruling date for 3rd of December, Tuesday.
Else, trial magistrate Wandi Anyamu had harrowing experiences of women from different counties on how they were duped into fraud. By virtue of having bank accounts at Kenya Women Finance Trust, the women explained how each of them received text messages of strange deposits to their accounts ranging from 20 million shillings to 80 million shillings.
Niko na account Gikomba ilifunguliwa.
Ulikuwa umefungua account Gikomba?
Hata sikuwa najua Gikomba saa hii.
Thereafter, they received texts of withdrawal small amounts from their accounts before the scheme was flagged out and police arrested them. The women, who are mostly widows, called for leniency during judgment, claiming they did not understand the offenses they committed.
Sasa saa zingine naona kama inakuwa ngumu. Alafu tumekituwasi mimi mjane.
And the Court of Appeal has suspended proceedings at the High Court, touching on the indefinite ban imposed on senior counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi and his associates. Justices Pauline Nyamoya, Agri Muchelule and George Odunga said the case will remain suspended until an appeal filed by the Supreme Court judges is heard and determined. The registry will now set a hearing date for the civil appeal in the December after submissions have been filed. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
And to the coastal city of Mombasa, the 54 billion shilling Dongo Kundu bypass that connects Mombasa and Kwale counties has already started registering gains even before its completion.
According to the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of Performance and Delivery Management, Eliud Owalo, the road, which is 98% complete, has seen the Likoni crossing channel decongested with free flow of traffic to the southern coast.
Owalo called on investors to take advantage of the mega infrastructural projects the government is implementing at the coast by boosting their investments. And Buru is on the coastal beats.
Early morning, the entourage, led by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Eliud Owalo, began the tour of the projects in Mombasa County at the 1.5 billion shillings Liwatoni Fishing Complex, inspecting the project before heading to the 54 billion shillings Dongo Kundu bypass. It was at the Dongo Kundu bypass that Owalo noted that the Mombasa to Kwale bypass, which is 98% complete, has started registering some gains.
To begin with, in terms of attendant benefits, it's going to facilitate easier access from the mainland to the airport. It will also facilitate faster connectivity from the SGR terminus into the town, and it will reduce congestion at the Likoni ferry for those connecting from Mombasa to Kwale, because now you can use the bypass to connect from Mombasa to Kwale, and cumulatively, it will reduce the overcrowding of traffic within Mombasa town.
It was at the 40 billion shillings Mombasa Special Economic Zone Development Project where the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of Performance and Delivery Management reiterated that the government has compensated residents affected by the putting up of the mega infrastructure, underscoring the benefits which include paving the way for new investors.
I'm happy to report that One of the fundamental milestones that we have realized within the special economic zone so far is to ensure that compensation for those who are displaced is at 90% completion rate. The remaining 10% will be sorted out by KPA in the next 1 week. Yeah? There were certain small challenges which are not insurmountable, so all of those payments should be settled within the next 1 week.
The government has put incentives to attract more investors, promising them a conducive environment to do business.
We have got tax rebates by way of income tax, corporate tax, and even excise tax. So I want to assure prospective investors that the government will do its best to ensure that we have got a conducive and enabling environment for investors to deploy within this facility. And we are ready and willing, working together with all local leaders to create that necessary ecosystem.
The entourage also visited Mombasa Southern Bypass Highway, the 7 billion shilling Nyali Affordable Housing Project, and the 25 billion shilling Mombasa Malindi Dual Carriageway. Owalo was accompanied by Gender and Affirmative Action Principal Secretary Anne Wangombe, Coast Regional Commissioner Rhoda Onyancha, Mombasa County Commissioner Mohamed Noor and Sherry Ariko, and Head of the Government Delivery Unit Lee Kyonze. The Deputy Chief of Staff will tomorrow hold a stakeholders engagement forum at the Kenya School of Government. For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Buru.
Well, we're going for a fast break, but before we do that, there's a communication here from the chair of the Social Health Authority addressed to all the staff of that authority, dated 12th November 2024, and the subject matter is appointment of Robert Ingasira as the Chief Executive Officers. It reads as follows. This is to inform you of the resolution of the board to appoint Mr. Robert Ingasira, I beg your pardon, as Acting Chief Executive Officer, SHA and NHIF, effective as Mr. Elijah Washira proceeds on compulsory leave. Of course, it has been signed by Dr. Abdi Mohammed, and that's what my colleague was reading earlier on, that the acting chief executive officer has been
at Social Health Authority has been sent on compulsory leave. Continue communicating to us on a Tuesday conversation, our socials at KBC Channel 1.
That's right. We're taking a short break, and listen, don't go away. Don't go away. We'll tell you why when we come back. Stay with us.
You are watching The Shift with Regina. Rahisisha uwezo wako wa ushindi kwa kukuwa memba wa Loto Moto, na ni rahisi. Dial star 570 hash. Ukiwa memba ni rahisi kufika kwenye jukwaa hili ili kujaribu mchezo wetu wa Loto Moto Show. Na pia kama memba unajipa nafasi rahisi ya kuingia kwenye promotion zetu zinazokupa nafasi ya kujishindia chapaa na zawadi kibao kama TV, friji, pikipiki, mashamba na pia magari. Kuwa memba ni star 570 hash, tushinde kama members.
Wewe bro, nipatie hiyo risiti ya items.
Wazi. Cheki, mimi sina ado hizo na
Excuse, nilete risiti yangu ya items. Asante.
Ni pesa ngapi? 3,000.
Hebu nisaidie na ile risiti ya items.
Nimeshinda mili. I'm the latest millionaire. Marry me, baby.
Yes! Guys, nimeshinda laptop. Nimeshinda TV 50 inches.
Nice na Risiti Legit promotion kutoka KRA. Download Risiti Legit app, scan QR code kwenye risiti yako, ujishindie zawadi kem kila wiki. Kuna grand prize ya milioni 3 kwa washindi watatu, milioni kila mmoja.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. Coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. Tonight, of course, Principal Secretary in the State Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono, is on shift. He's live in studio.
To discuss agriculture matters with Regina Manyara, our socials at KBC Channel 1.
Yeah, if you have a question, what do you care about on this topic or issue, let us know on those social platforms which are at KBC Channel 1. At this point, we're going to hand over to our colleague who is in the other studio. Regina Manyara, it's all yours now.
Yes, good evening once again, Tom. Now, let's start off with the shift. Now, in school, we were taught that there are 3 basic needs: food, water, and shelter. Well, these may not necessarily fall in that order, but for argument's sake, let's say that they do. Now, it would mean we are staring at a crisis. It is not news that there is a global food shortage. This is mainly attributed to climate change, shrinking natural resources, unsustainable farming practices, supply chain concerns, population growth, and urbanization. So why is the world not able to feed itself? Yet it has the capacity to do so. This is our focus tonight on The Shift. The government's bottom-up economic agenda spells out agriculture transformation as a key agenda aimed at putting food on the table through reduction in the cost of production and in the effect that is going to affect food prices. But has this agenda is being cultivated, nurtured, and allowed to grow and also flourish for Kenyans to enjoy the fruits? In studio, we're joined by Principal Secretary in the State Department for Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono, who will share details on where we are in realizing food security at a time when the weatherman has warned we are staring at depressed rains. This is The Shift, and I am Regina Manyara. Thank you very much for your time, Bona Pierce.
Thank you.
On the off, there's a saying that goes, an angry man, or rather a hungry man, is an angry man. Do you believe in the saying?
It's true.
All right?
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the reason why food pillar is not only called food and nutritional pillar, but it's called food security. Because without food, it is very hard to govern an individual who is not fed. And it stands that way and stands strong.
I like that you have said that you agree with that. Now, this evening we had asked you a myriad of questions, and one among them was, in your opinion, has the price of food commodities come down? It is there on your screen. That is one of the questions that we're asking you. Has the cost of food gone down in your opinion? You can give us your feedback on our various socials, including on X at KBC Channel 1. Mine is at Ray Manyara. The second question that we're asking you tonight is that, are you familiar with the government fertilizer subsidy program? What do you know about the government subsidized fertilizer program? Tell us where you're watching this particular show from, and if you've interacted with the subsidized fertilizer, has been your experience that far? We are open to your feedback, and we have PS Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono, who is going to take us through that particular sector, agriculture, the backbone of the country's economy. So, Bona PS, is food truly affordable in Kenya today, or is the government now failing to address the rising cost of basic commodities?
Okay, thank you, Regina. And I want to thank Kenyans who are with us at this time. I believe our farmers are still awake. You know, I normally know that sometimes they go to bed very early because of a lot of work during the day in trying to put food on our table. So, Regina, you have mentioned, you have asked a question whether the prices of food has come down and is it affordable? I think the straight answer is yes. But before that, first of all, to put food in the table is not very easy. I realize it is not very easy to be the breadwinner. And this government being that one in the first agenda for this administration, I want to assure you that it has managed to make sure that there is food on our table, at the same time affordable. And when you look at the programs put before this administration, first of all, this administration is a very rare administration. It is an administration with a plan and a focused plan, which every other time we are on it as government.
Now, Bwana PS, before you get to the better plan, that is the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the plan, the model that the government is pushing to ensure that we get food secure, we ran a poll, and this is what Kenyans had to say in regard to the cost of food prices. And also, we're going to be just showing to our viewers the latest CPI index, that is a commodity price index for the month of October, and also comparing food prices a year on, October 2023 and October 2024. What has been the change, and what has been the change in food prices and other commodities between the month of September and October 2024. These are the graphics that we have. This is just a snippet of what the CPI index looked like in October. These are some of the changes that we have seen, that between September of 2024 and October 2024, we have seen a significant rise in a few of the commodities there. We have vegetables there, we have mangoes, we have carrots, we have oranges. We even have cooking oil that has gone up by at least 1% in terms of price. But also, month on month, in terms of change, we have seen there's been a drop in the cost, in the price of maize flour. We've also seen a drop in the cost of sugar. We've also seen a drop in the cost of fortified maize flour, a drop in the cost of flour that is sifted, as well as the drop in the cost of skuma wiki. That is a change between September 2024 and October 2024. That is according to the Kenya KNBS, so to speak. So now let's look at the change there at the bottom in terms of the retail prices affected between October and September. What has gone up is cooking oil. Is a top rise in cost. We've seen a rise in cost, Bwana PS. And looking at some of the value chains that have been identified by this government to try and leapfrog the agriculture sector under better is edible oils. We'll be getting to that point. But overall statistics, and even from what Kenyans are saying, is that a majority of Kenyans are not convinced that food prices have dropped. So in your opinion, 2 years in government, why are we still having high food prices that are affecting the spending of a majority of households?
I think, Regina, you'll agree with me that from the statistics you have projected, yes, it's very clear that there's drop. Yes, it is very clear. There's a drop. Today I was in one of the supermarkets just checking on the cost of unga, and the 2 kilogram of one of the brand like Soko is a drastically drop from what used to be around 250 Kenyan shillings to 133 per 2 kilogram. And same to the rest. And I think from this, from your projection here, it is very clear it has come down. And the cost of one of the critical component, which is cooking oil, which seems not to have come down, is because that is one of the commodities which we are importing. And when you look at our value chain under better, that is one of the products, one of the crop we are focusing on to ensure that we grow that crop in Kenya. As we talk now, that is a crop we have imported some seeds close to 500 metric tons of seed for edible oil.
and we have distributed to close to 41 counties to plant a second crop after maize, because we believe that if we plant that crop, because sunflower can grow in where maize grow. And when you look at the acreage for maize, which is close to around 44 million, and then you put sunflower in that particular chamber, then we'll be able to address the issue of edible oil, which in this one, you are seeing it is going up.
It is
but
going up.
that is being addressed in a very systematic way.
We will get there. We will get there.
But the rest, I'm wondering.
They're coming down, and we are actually looking at it. Skuma wiki is down, wheat flour is down, maize is down. But those are the polls. That is what Kenyans
But
feel.
what is, it is good to talk about it.
Yes.
And face it.
Yes.
Even you have demonstrated that this have come down.
Yes.
And even from the general feeling, you know that there is maize everywhere in this country. There is food all over because of good rain, the issue of fertilizers, and other agronomical practices this country has put in place under PETA. Now, for anybody to believe that that is not true, even when facts and figures demonstrated here shows that it is a true position, I think we need to see where is the disconnect.
Where is the disconnect?
Where is the disconnect?
I like that question, because in as much as we're seeing the prices having come, there's a change between September and October, according to that particular report. We are also seeing rapid urbanization. A majority are moving away from farming because it is not earning them as what it used to earn them 10 years. And they're now looking at other, forms of livelihoods. We're talking about real estate. We are seeing people uprooting coffee, uprooting tea bushes, not getting into cotton anymore. The Kenyans, or rather the farmer, feels that it is better to be a middleman between government, linking government and the farmer, or the farmer with the consumer, because they're not earning. How are we addressing that? How should we address that?
Right. I think if you talk about that topic 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even me, I could have just gone to real estate. But now, looking at the plans in this administration for agriculture, it is something everybody else wish to be in farming. Okay, when you look at agriculture over a period of time before this administration, there have been a lot of frustration. There have been lack of focus to support farmers. We've been dealing with issues which are symptoms, not a root cause, of why we have low production, why we are importing food, and also why our farmers are very frustrated. But when you look at the structures we have put in place, which we'll go deep into in this administration, it is an administration where farmer is the king. And if there is time our farmers will get money in their pocket and be wealthy, this is a time. Because by putting agriculture as number one, and apart from that, putting various interventions which are on focus, which Kenyans are feeling it is happening, I believe the future for the sector is very bright. And you will see farmers shifting from the story of real estate to farming. And I've seen many doing that.
All right. Now, one would ask, we have seen in the recent years, we undertook major projects in agriculture. One of them is the Galana Kulalu irrigation program, valued at 1.7 billion. That was quite an investment for the taxpayer. What is the status report in regard to this? What went wrong in that particular project, and where are we at?
That program, Galana Kulalu, is still a good program for this country. Because when you look at the focus, when it comes to food importation, the bigger component, first, by the way, the amount of money we spend in this country per year to import food is close to $4 billion every year. What are we importing? We are importing basic food, rice, wheat, sugar. We are importing even sometimes eggs. We are also importing, and edible oil. One of the big component of that program is one of them, which we are spending a lot of money, is on rice, which every year we need close to 1.1 million metric tons.
Yes.
Our production is close to 300,000 metric tons. Now, the rest we are importing. Why are we importing? Because even when you talk about food in this country, first is maize, and then second is rice. Without the two, you have to struggle.
Okay.
Now, when maize dropped, then we focus on rice. So to address matters to do with rice and also matters to do with maize is this big program, the Kalana Kulala program, which the form of it, the intention was good and it is still good. And when you look at the plans we have put in place now, the production we have put for rice in that, the whole land, which is now close to, we are focusing on 200,000 acres now to put rice under irrigation, to really give us, to meet our rice requirement for the country.
So government terminated the contract under Galana Kulalu in 2019. Are you saying right now we have an investor the government is partnering on in this particular project of the Galana Kulalu?
Not even one investor.
Okay.
We have now several investors. I think when government put up a good structure for the private, for public-private partnership, now we have gotten a number of investors coming in to support government in making sure that that particular, the whole of Kalano program succeed. So as we talk now, we have close to 4 investors who are now producing maize and producing rice. And we have also having, there are also others who are coming to take close to 200,000 acres to really produce rice. And we have investors who are now producing sunflower. If you go to that site now, it is a beehive of activities. And we believe it is a game changer for our food production. So we are on focus.
So, Bwana PS, a clarity is that now under Galana Kulalu, unlike what we were seeing just purely maize, now we're going to have maize as well as rice as well as sunflower.
Sunflower.
In that particular project. When are we likely to see the outcomes of this particular program? Because it's been mad with corruption and setbacks and such. When are we likely to get the impact of the Galana Kulalu? Are we looking at timelines now that you have full investors on board?
It is now. It has started now.
It has started.
It has started now.
Okay.
In fact, when you go there now, we have close to 20,000 acres of rice. We have to around 180,000 acres, which is ongoing now for next season for rice. And we have a big plantation of close to 300,000 acres for maize. And now we are putting up sunflower. If you go to Kalano, you can see this huge production of sunflower from that farm. And we have a number of investors. So it is not when. It is now.
It is now.
And I think sometime, which I think is important for all of us, it is good to go to the ground.
Go to the ground.
Go to the ground.
We will follow you to the ground.
Let us go to the ground. Then you can believe what's happening.
We will check on that. Now, we've had the fertilizer subsidy program, and it was supposed to reduce the cost of production. What impact has this program had on farmers? And in your opinion, are they seeing results? Because this is some of the questions that we've been asking tonight. If they have interacted with the program and their views, you're going to sample them in the course of this particular program. But from where your standpoint, the impact and the results of this program.
Yes, subsidized fertilizer program is a serious topical issue and also a big program which every Kenyan, I believe, has felt it. What is the story? You know, before, the way the government has focused on agriculture was to deal with what we call the symptoms of the problems. And that is why for a long time, this country had never managed to sort out the matters to do with food and food security and nutritional security. But when you look at the approach this government has done, is to deal with the root cause. And the root cause is farm input. So one of the critical components for our farm input is fertilizers. And the government has restructured the fertilizer program to make sure that, first of all, the cost of the fertilizers comes down. You know, you remember it was 7,500 per 50 kilogram bags before this administration. It is now at 2,500 Kenya shilling per 50 kilogram bag. That is a fact. And that one, over the last 2 years, we have distributed close to around 16 million 50 kilogram bags to farmers and across the country for various crops. And our fertilizers are crop specific and also they are of quality. On top of that, they are also specific to the geological areas.
Rather the soil structure.
So the topic is it there?
Good question, and we are going to pick it up from that point.
And then what are the issues?
Yes,
we need to discuss those ones.
We are getting there, and we're taking that particular break on that note. Is the fertilizer subsidy program effective? We'll pick it up after this break.
Je, ungependa kuwa mshindi na Lucky Box? Ni rahisi sana. Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi. Kuna vitu vingi sana vya kushinda kama vile TV, kuka, washing machine, fridge, kipiki, pesa na hata gari. Na sio gari tu, Subaru. Na kuna jackpots kadha wa kadha. Kuna power jackpot ya 1.9 million, mega jackpot 2.5 million na super Sunday ya 3 million Kenya shillings. Kila mtu anaweza kuwa mshindi. Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi. Kuchagua box ni kuchagua chapa.
Kumbuka, kila unapocheza Lucky Box unasaidia watoto kusoma.
Do you have a complaint, or is something just not adding up with your pension scheme? It's easy to file a complaint directly with the Retirement Benefits Authority, and it's absolutely free. Just visit www.complaints.rba.go.ke and follow the prompts to file your complaint. RBA will acknowledge your complaint within 7 working days. Your complaint will be reviewed and addressed within 30 working days. Your time and peace of mind are important, and anyone dissatisfied with a decision of RBA can appeal to the Independent Retirement Benefits Appeals Tribunal. RBA is here to listen and resolve your complaint promptly, because your retirement should be stress-free. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Mamlaka ya ukusanyaji ushuru nchini inakuletea kampeni ya umma ya G-Nice na Risiti Legit. Thibitisha risiti yako ukitumia app ya Risiti Legit, upate nafasi ya kuibuka mshindi wa zawadi kemkem kama vile shilingi milioni 1 pesa taslim, laptops, televisheni ya inchi 50, smartphones na zawadi zingine. Alhamisi tarehe 14 Novemba, msafara wetu utang'oa nanga Thika, maeneo ya Times Tower, Ruiru, Kimbo, Kenyatta Road, Juja Wetevye, Jomoko, Gatitu, Thika mjini, Engen, Makongeni na Kisii Estate. Kisha tutatembelea maeneo ya Juja Road, Eastleigh, Shauri Moyo, Majengo, Bahati, Kariobangi, Fedha, Pipeline, Kayole, Dandora, Mwiki, Kasarani, Roysambu, Githurai, Kahawa West na Zimmerman. Ijumaa tarehe 15 Novemba mwaka 2024. Jumamosi tarehe 16 Novemba tutakuwa Kangemi, Odhiru, Kinoo, Wangigi, Kikuyu, Dagoretti, Satellite, Nairobi West, South C, South B, Ngong Road, Kibera, Karen, Ngong na Rongai. Pata app ya Risiti Legit kwa Google Play Store au App Store kwa maelezo ya kuingia katika mashindano ya Risiti Legit. G-Nice na Risiti Legit. KRA, tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Wewe ni nani na unataka nini?
Ama kweli hapo kwa kujua mengi hujakosea, lakini kuna mambo mengine huyajui, hautakuja kuyajua na wala hauna budi kuyajua mpaka na hata kuyasikia, mpaka pengine labda ukifa.
Felista, una bahati kuwa mimi ni mtu mpole na sipendi mshike. Leo hii kichwa chako na kiwiliwili ningehakikisha vimetengana.
Je, ungependa kuwa mshindi na Lucky Box? Ni rahisi sana. Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi.
Wewe ni nani na unataka nini?
Ama kweli hapo kwa kujua mengi hujakosea, lakini kuna mambo mengine huyajui.
Kila mtu anaweza kuwa mshindi. Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi. Kuchagua box ni kuchagua chapa.
Kumbuka, kila unapocheza Lucky Box unasaidia watoto kusoma.
This is a shift, and tonight we're focusing on matters agriculture. In studio is none other than Principal Secretary Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono. And we pick it up from the issue of fertilizer. Now, Bwana PS, we as a country have been treated to the latest corruption scandal touching on the fertilizer subsidy program. Would want to know is what steps have you taken, to ensure that this does not happen again?
Right. I think the issue of, first of all, this program is a very critical program for our farmers. It's a program guarded so well by the government because we believe that if this program succeeds, we'll be able to address a number of issues to do it. Agriculture, at the same time, to transform our economy. That is why it is guarded that way. Now, where are we? First of all, we have managed to identify the farmers by name, by location, and other identities, including the size of land and the type of crops they are growing. So we talk about 6.4 million farmers in our system. That is a digital system which is one of its kinds in Africa and almost in the world. In fact, everybody is coming. We have close to now 20 countries coming to see how we have digitized agriculture. I'm saying that because it is one of the backbone of our discussion on matters to do with fertilizers, because identification of farmers is key. The number two is, yes, we get fertilizers which are crop specific and region specific. How do we do it? First of all, is to identify key players in this sector. They are close to around, when you look at big players, around 15, 16, who can really give us the best fertilizers. Yes. Then based on that, what the government did is to do what is called an open tender to ensure that we get the best prices at the same time, the best quality, and we also get what is called economies of scale, because when you really negotiate at that top level, you are able to get the best prices and also ensure that the suppliers you get are suppliers which have credibility and also have what is called the capital to roll out the big program. Now, based on that, we went to our system and introduced what is called the e-voucher system to ensure that there is full integration between the farmer on the ground and the farmer asking for the fertilizer linked with the farm and our agropreneurs. Now, after that, we engage farmers on some training to ensure that they are able to really understand and do online requests for fertilizers. Within that space, we ensure that at first we work with one entity, which is National Cereals and Produce Board. And the reason why we concentrated like that, or we centralized like that, is to ensure that we control the quality, we control distribution, we ensure that the price is right, and there is no monkey business in between.
But we have seen monkey business happen. We have seen monkey business happen in the fertilizer distribution value chain. And my question here tonight is, the latest fertilizer subsidy program scandal, has someone been indicted on this? Where are we in the investigations? And if not, what is holding back in as far as the investigations are concerned? Before we hear from Kenyans who've been posing the question is if they have interacted with this particular program.
All right. So to go specific, so during the distribution of these fertilizers, we had a multi-agency team. First of all, there was thorough inspection at every stage to make sure that before the contractors were contracted, they were subjected to some inspection of their products, and including visiting their premises. And we had a multi-agency team because that box belongs to a different entity like KBC, who does the quality of the fertilizers. But we went ahead
with some other agencies within the ministry, like KEFIS, to also ensure that they check those quality. Now, this is what happened. During the distribution of the many million bags of fertilizers, while we are going around to do the inspection and check whether the fertilizers meet the quality and they are of the right quantity and engaging the farmers, we realized that there was one product which was having some challenges. And that is the product we stopped before they go into full-blown distribution. They had only distributed close to around 5,000 bags. Why? It's because the rate of distribution per day, we had around 1,000 lorries per day bringing fertilizers, and the distribution per day was very huge. So within that specific short period, there was
monkey business had happened.
There was a monkey business.
The person who was, or rather who did this monkey business when it comes to this, dropping the ball on the fertilizer subsidy program, I mean, are they still walking scot-free, or what action has been taken so far?
No, immediately, and I think you watch and you saw, immediately when we discovered that there is this anomaly in those fertilizers, we stopped immediately. And when we stopped immediately the fertilizer, we went deep into investigation, and we now engaged the law enforcement agencies, who went, first of all, to arrest the individuals. And after they arrested the individuals, we went back to KEBS to assure us it is true that this fertilizer don't meet the required standards.
So how do you win back public trust on the, the use and uptake of government fertilizer at this point? Because it has really caused a debacle.
No, wait, hello, Regina.
Yes.
Be fair also to government. You are talking about how many million bags? You are talking about close to 15 million bags. How many bags we discovered within a period of 2 days? Only 5,000 in a particular site. We did what is supposed to be done.
Okay.
Arrest the situation. Stop, arrest the culprits, take through the normal process of the law. And as we talk now, you must have seen that the factory was closed and the individuals were arrested and they are now in court. So the process of court cases, that one, we don't have any control. But of importance, we went ahead as government because we had not paid these individuals the money. So we went ahead as government and now give the right fertilizers to the affected farmers. And as we talk, we compensated all the farmers.
Now let's hear from the farmers what they have to say, the ones that have been interacting with this government subsidy in terms of subsidized fertilizer. This is a story prepared by our very own Khalid, who has been doing a spot check on what Kenyans have to say about the fertilizer, government subsidized fertilizer program.
Agriculture is central to Kenya's economy, and the Kenya Kwanza government has prioritized food security by supporting farmers and increasing agricultural productivity. But what do you understand by government subsidized fertilizer? Come as I engage with Kenyans.
Nimekuwa nikiona kwamba kuna kitu inaitwa subsidy in fertilizer. Mimi ni fertilizer sijaiona, na hata kama ishaikuja inakuja Olkarau, mahali watu ambapo wanaweza access wenye wako juu ya rami. Sisi wakulima ambao tunatokea na gambut, gunia moja gunia mbili huwa tuione.
Ile tungeomba tu serikali ikusaidie nayo, iweke hiyo mbolea kiwango cha mtu mwenye anaweza kuchukua. Ani wasiweke tu hiyo yenye walikuwa wametuwekea juu sisi hatutoshani kwa mapato.
Naweza sema kuhusu hii fertilizer na subsidy, ililetwa kwa bei, at least bei yenye imepunguka kidogo, lakini sio free. Chenye tunaweza omba serikali kuhusu hii fertilizer iwe free. Tunaomba ikuwe free kabisa.
We know there was some subsidized fertilizer, but again there was lots of corruption in it. You remember the sand which was given to people as fertilizers. Again, you will find that those who deserve to get these fertilizers, our farmers in the interior, the poor farmer in the rural places, they rarely get these fertilizers.
Nikilinganisha miaka ya awali na miaka ya sahi, huu mwaka haswa tumeona kuna utofauti mkubwa, sababu miaka iliyopita miwili hivi tulikuwa na gharama ya juu, maisha ilikuwa imepanda, mahindi hadi ikafika shilingi 200 korogoro moja. Ukiongeza ya kushaga ilikuwa 220. Kama una ile pesa haungeweza kupata lishe kwa nyumba. Kwa hivyo saa hii angalau hata kuna wengine saa hii ukiwaelekeza vizuri ama ukiendea kwa unyenyekevu wanaweza kuuzia mahindi kwa shilingi 80. Lakini haswa majority wako kwa shilingi 100.
Government is doing is not right, because we expected that when the price of fertilizer will go down, there will be enough food in the area. But as per now, farmers are not getting these fertilizers. They are not there. The ones which are there, they are acidic. When we use them, our crops can't come very fast. It seems there's something on it. Second to that, when the price of fertilizer goes down, we expect that the price of everything to go down. As per now, as we talk, the price of sugar is at 150 in Homa Bay, but the government say they are reducing things.
Unga imekuwa ikishuka kwa sababu ya mambo kama hii tunaendelea ya kuvuna. Wakati huu ni wakati ambao tunavuna, alafu unapata kuuzia serikali mahindi yako inakuwa ni kama tu kutupa, therefore una prefer hata wewe mwenyewe kuisiaga uiuze kama unga. Therefore mafuta bado imepanda, petrol bado imepanda.
Kama serikali imetuwezesha kututumia vikundi mbalimbali. Tuko na kikundi ambayo inajiita BioVision, imekuja ikatuelimisha jinsi tutapanda mboga zetu tukitumia mbolea ya kiasili.
Now, Bona PS, a mixed bag of beans when it comes to Kenyans' opinions in the questions that we've asked them. Some have said that, yes, the prices have gone down, but they want them to go lower so that they can be able to purchase more, especially when it comes to sugar. We've also had farmers who are interacting with this particular fertilizer saying that some of it is not, it does not do well with their soil. So what are we doing in terms of soil mapping so that we can have the right fertilizer for the right soil? Another issue that has been raised by Kenyans there is access to this fertilizer. How do you address that quickly so that we can look at the agricultural value chains under better?
All right, first of all, I want to appreciate what those farmers said. In fact, they were very frank and candid to what they saw and what they are experiencing. It is a fact the subsidized fertilizer program is on. They all say it is on. And they have heard, they have seen, they have used. What they were expressing are challenges they were facing, which I think they are in our mapping. One is that it is true that the distribution of the first batch of the fertilizers, they were being collected from very far places by farmers, and that we witness. Why? Because item number one is that agriculture is devolved. Part of the distribution channel was to be provided by the county government. So they have been struggling to make sure that they have technologies in the right places, because for you to redeem a bag of fertilizer, you need to have a computer in place, you need to have power in place, but that has been addressed. What we have done over the last 1 year is to engage the county government to open up more depot. At the same time, going forward, we have engaged the agro dealers, the agrovets. So this time around, we are liaising. The winning bidders will be liaising with the agrovets so that the fertilizers are very closer to the farmers. They also talk about cooperatives. It is true. We have also engaged cooperatives, like in tea, we are using the cooperatives, and now we are going to use cooperatives in the distribution of these farmers, of the fertilizers. So we have also registered them. Now, of importance is what is called soil mapping. If you remember, on July this year, we have a big conference on soil and fertilizer health, which was in this country. And one of the big agenda was to deal with soil acidity and soil mapping. And that agenda, I think, as a country, we are ahead. As we talk now, we have a big team. We have come up with a report to make sure that the fertilizers we are giving out will be soil-specific and also region-specific and crop-specific. So that is being addressed. But of importance is what they said, value addition. Yes, there is overproduction in maize and other crops. And that is why there is a big program on value addition. And that's why we talk about value chain in everything. Somebody talk about sugar and the price of sugar being 150 and not coming down. You know, when you talk about the cost of living, as a government, we look at different indices to make sure that we balance. I know there have been a lot of argument that we bring in the cost of sugar to come so low, the cost of production because we have a challenge in the sugar sector.
In the sugar sector.
Whereby the farmers who are from sugarcane farming sector, they've been saying we need to increase the price of 1 ton of sugar. On the other side, the common mwananchi is saying no. Then the cost of sugar will be, so there's an economies of scale and there's a lot of balancing which the government normally put in place to make sure that the sector remain afloat and productive.
Now, the value chains that are under better include rice. You've already mentioned that demand versus production, we are not ready to meet, we cannot meet our demands in terms of our production, 300 metric tons against 1 million metric tons in terms of consumption. So what are you as government doing to ensure that Mwea and Ahero regions maximize on their rice yields?
All right, it's true. We require close to 1.1 million metric tons per year for rice.
Yes.
The production is around 300.
Yes.
We have what is called irrigated rice. Irrigated rice and non-irrigated rice, which we are calling it upland and lowland rice, which they can grow like maize. So we have looked at the two critical areas in the program. One, in the area of rice, we are upscaling Mwea, the Mwea rice scheme, which of late has been producing now on itself close to 300,000 metric tons from the 200,000. We have gone to Ahero, you're right. There's a big program on Ahero. First of all, to really make sure that the land is revitalized and irrigated to produce rice. Okay. And on that, because we have been having a problem on the small scale millers for Ahero, because they've been producing rice, barley rice, and take to Uganda for sale, and sometimes they are milled and brought back to Kenya. So we have put up millers. If you saw in the last couple of months, even the head of state announced a number of rice millers in that region to upscale. Then we are also coming up with what is called upland and lowland rice. Rice which grow like maize. They don't need to be irrigated. This is a product, a new program which we are running now with Calro, and we have distributed seeds for lowland and upland rice, so that we increase on production. With all those combinations, we are looking at a close to 800,000 metric tons of rice being produced by the year 2027.
And that by the year 2027, that is long term. And as you take a break, I'd want you to ponder on the question. We are currently have low importation, duty-free of rice, over 500 metric tons. The time, or rather the window, lapses at the end of this month. What happens after that? As you ponder on that, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Tangu nishinde gari imenisaidia sana. Nimekuwa nikitumia kubebeba watu. Angalau naona life inabadilika. Sikosi angalau kwa siku.
Nilikuwa donda, nilikuwa tu msave hivi. Sasa hivi nina gari, naweza drive na naweza beba watu, naweza make my own money.
Mungu amekutoa kwa matatu.
Dial *570# option 4. Hapo kuna Pro Box. Na ina feel poa sana kuendesha gari ambayo unajua imechangia pakubwa kusaidia society. Unaweza anisha nayo busy yako ya transportation, ida kubebea watu wa soko vitu, na niko sure by the end of the day uta make ends meet. Dial *570# option 4 kuna Pro Box ya kushindaniwa.
Yani this is how you are thanking me, eh? Kweli wewe na Fuda hakuna hata tofauti.
Do you know how to play your cards? Sema kujitetea.
What is so big with the word mysterious?
I did not tell them. That is a very small word, by the way. Carmen, I usually admire your English. Okay, exposure is a good thing. Carmen, okay, look at Julia. You see those little colored strings and materials on her hair? Oh, now, look at my hair. Do you see such?
Tonight we're talking agriculture. We were speaking about rice being one of the value chains that has been identified and prioritized under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Right now, 500,000 metric tons duty-free importation. The window lapses at the end of this month. We'll will Kenya survive without imports? Because 2027, I think, is around several years away from here. So what are the interventions? How are we going to go navigate? Bona PS.
Yes, in terms of survival, Kenya will survive because we have put up a number of programs to address rice.
Okay.
If you saw last week, we were in Migori opening up a big irrigation scheme for rice for our close to 20,000 acres of rice to support this program. When you look at the program we have in Aero, yes, it will assist us. Okay. When you look at the program we have in Kalanu, it's a big program. And then the enhanced rice program in Moya.
So we will manage.
And then there's a big rice program, by the way, in Taita Taveta. That one alone is Pikatan Moya. Okay. And it's a potential to really address the big issues we have in rice in this country. And we have put up millers to assist the rice in Taita Taveta, the farmers who have been taking rice to Tanzania and bringing it back, selling to Kenya.
Yes, to make money.
That one is big. It's a big program. So we are on course. We are on course.
Now, since we are on course, and you've mentioned Moya irrigation scheme, it has actually been, bearing the heaviest brand in terms of rice production. Farmers there are decrying invasion of their paddies by snails. How are you addressing that?
Not only snails, even rats.
Okay.
So
how are you addressing that?
We have the two issues in Moya.
Yes.
There are snails and there are rats all of a sudden. It depends. I think it's about climate change because when you look at the invasion of rats all of a sudden, it's quite unimaginable. But what we have done is that we are putting up a program to really crush those particular snails so that they are used for other feeds of animals. Because we saw that we can also use it as an opportunity to produce feeds for especially chicken feeds. And that program is now being designed so that we roll out.
So it's in the works.
To address the whole issue of snails. But meanwhile, we are having some small intervention to try and destroy the snails. But the sustainable model is to have a crushing miller. So
maybe
that
like a circular economy around the rats and
we will
snails.
make it as an economy. Same case to the issue of rats, because the rats, they are too big even for the current cats. Or we saw it. So that one is in the offing.
That is in the offing. Now, another value chain that has been identified under better is cotton. Right now, we are doing BT cotton. What has been the impact, given that it's the only one that commercial GMO has been the rollout?
The rollout of PT cotton has been successful. The only problem which we had was the issue of the agronomical practices. Because PT cotton you need to take care when it is on the farm. It's like a zero-crazed animal. And we caught close to 60,000 metric tons. And we gave to different farmers, including Pusha County, which we gave close to 15,000 kilos to really roll out. And as we talk now, that crop is on course, and we are working together with Rivertex also to produce more cotton. We have also identified that a number of counties, like the lower eastern, they can grow cotton. So we have worked with AFA, with Calro, to also give us what is called open pollinated varieties. We don't require a lot of care like PT cotton, and it can be really taken care of by farmers. So that is another one which we are producing the seeds, because the biggest problem in some of this value chain is lack of seeds, so that we can really propagate and then give to farmers.
Back in the day, cotton was quite an income earner, and we're still not getting there. Is there a future of cotton farming?
Yeah, there's future. In fact, we are looking at, when you talk now, cotton, when this administration came, the amount of acreage for cotton was close to 10,000 hectares. Yes. Now we are on 30,000 hectares. But to really meet the full production, we need close to 100,000 hectares for 100 million bales, so that to address the issue of cotton. So we have a program to make sure that we achieve on that target after 100,000 acres.
And the BT cotton is a key.
And the BT cotton is key.
Now, since we're talking about genetically modified organisms, the GMOs, those who have been critics of use of GMOs have said that have raised concern on, the survival of indigenous seeds. at the top of the helm of agriculture, what are you doing to ensure that as we are taking up GMO, we are also not losing our indigenous seeds?
GMO is a technology which is there to stay. And in a big way, all over, people are consuming GMO because they are well tested. Before they are introduced to the market, all the health benefits have been tested. But as you talk about the indigenous, when we are doing this one for GMO, you heard about the PT cotton. We are on the other indigenous cotton also to support the many farmers who are depending on that. And also when you look at the indigenous variety of crops, first of all, they are resilient to climate change, what we have seen. At the same time, they are able also to stand some of the challenges which farmers sometimes are not able to address, like diseases. So both of them we are running concurrent. But remember that with climate change and the growing population, there is a need to really shift our game in future.
And go GMO.
Yes.
But then what about the issue of, labeling of these particular products? Have you assured that now we're going to get to our stores, now that we have GMO, we have the GMO product, this is organic and such, the labeling aspect, maybe?
The GMO issue in Kenya, we have come up with regulations and policies and the law. But there was a challenge in court before we roll out all those aspects, as you mentioned, that there will be need for programs to also label and give the consumers assurance that before you buy this is this type. But as soon as we get an assurance and lifting by the court to roll out the GMO products, that is the time we can look at what are the other parameters and programs we need to roll around it.
Now let's delve into edible oils. It's also another value chain that you have identified. We import 85% of that. And now government has an ambitious plan to grow sunflower across 34 counties. Where are we with that, and is it realistic? We need roughly around 5 million acres of land to see this through, for sunflower only. What appears?
All right. When you talk about sunflower, the first step you mentioned, or the statement you mentioned, you say we are spending close to 120 billion Kenya shillings over importing edible oil. That's a fact. It is a worry to this country. And now, what is the steps? You heard that we are looking for seeds. We got seeds close to 486,000 metric tons, which we have distributed to the 34 counties. In fact, there are 41. Now, it is not about 5 million acres. We need close to 2 million acres to sort out the issue of edible oil. For the sunflower, you just need 2 million. So we are saying, in the acreage for maize, which is close to that 5 million, we just need half of it to sort out our edible oil problem. Now, where are we? We have distributed the edible the seeds. We have also engaged Kenya Seeds and AFA to propagate or to produce more seeds so that they can take back to farmers. Now, when we distributed these seeds to farmers, which are now on, and we have guided the farmers, now we have come up with millers, the milling machine, because the farmers at the end of the day need what is called the squeezers, the oil squeezers, so that they can just squeeze this oil, use them, what is called the fashion oil in their homes, because they are good when you use them at that level. They are very original. Then the remaining or the surplus, they are now taken for full production so that they can go through all the value chain. You can get feed for animal. We can also get now the refined oil, which you can now export or take to other markets. So we are on. The program is on. We have also recruited people, we are calling them agropreneurs, youth in every county to support this program.
Now, since you've talked about support, and we're looking at, even if you're saying the acreage of maize is what you're going to use for sunflower, what has been the reception so far? And as you're rolling out, because it's something I understand that you're rolling out, how is government ensuring that they secure that particular acreage? What are you setting aside? Which areas have you identified, and to what extent the acreage, in terms of acreage? Land.
In the counties we have identified.
Yes, that the 41.
We have worked together with the county government, because we are saying for you to really maximize on production, you need to grow as a team, as a group. So each farmer will have around a quarter or an acre. So
Governmental
that
land
otherwise,
or private land?
No, private land.
Private land.
Yeah. Because we realize that if you grow as individuals in a particular area, it can be consumed by birds, all of them. So they will be growing as in a community way, so that you have what is called your crops are not fully consumed by the birds. So we have gone into that and put up structures with farmers, identify the farmers. Through MSME program which the Ministry of Cooperative is running, we have identified the individuals, and now we have also identified the oil pressers. Now we are even rolling the Chuakali oil pressers to assist the farmers
in the whole value chain.
Yeah, in their own value chain.
That is long term. Now, in short term, in July, the government imposed an import duty tax on crude palm oil. This led to the spike in cooking oil, and it has even gone to the cost of margarine and soap and such, so driving the cost of living. Now, do you think this was a policy mistake, and should there be a reversal? I mean, the manufacturers are also asking government to actually relook this policy. What is your standpoint?
It was not a mistake. Yeah, because one is that edible oil, you are importing. So we are saying, can we produce locally? When you see that product, it's not a local product we are saying we are importing.
Yes.
So isn't it better we sort of work on discouraging importation so that we let our farmers produce? Because the more you make that sector lucrative and allow importation or make it a little bit not taxable, you will get more people importing. So it's a way of making sure that instead of importing, can we step up?
But on the flip side, Bwana PS, even from the report that you have seen here with KNBS, the cost of cooking oil continues to skyrocket, pushing consumers, household consumption further up. Let's have a poll. Let us look at the question that we had asked Kenyans there. In your opinion, has the price of food commodities come down? Let's look at the poll tonight. Well, that was the question that we posed to you as we started this particular conversation. Has the cost of food gone down, in your opinion? Yes, you're watching the shift. It started at 9 p.m. As you can see, a majority of Kenyans there are of the opinion that the prices of food haven't come down. And one of the key issues is the cost of cooking oil. That even from KNBS, it shows it has gone up by at least 2%. That's a change between September and October there. So is there no room to reverse, in the short term? Is there no room to reverse this particular, policy to ease the burden of a majority of Kenyans?
Short term. Because one is that to produce sunflower oil, you need 3 months.
3 months?
3 months. So in a 3 months period, you have really sought out a number of issues. And that is what our focus. We are on focus.
Yes.
To say within 3 months, we should be able to address these issues in one way or another.
So by around April, we should be seeing
things
returns.
will come down. So, yes, if edible oil is the one which is making it high, the cost of living, I don't think that really can be a very conclusive reason why the cost of living has gone up.
We have a report that indicates that is what is shooting.
It is only the edible oil.
Yes, all right, at 2%. That's a change month on month. Now, the weatherman is predicting depressed rainfall for the coming season. How is the Ministry of Agriculture preparing for this, especially considering the ongoing drought challenges that we have experienced in the recent past?
As a ministry and as government, we are very prepared. One is that we have looked at the current production across all value chain, and it is what is called overproduction. Now, what are we doing? We have assisted farmers in terms of what is called post-harvest losses, so that we have more stock in what is called our strategic food reserve, which if we saw over the last a week, we've been very busy trying to buy maize from farmers. We are also addressing the issue of wheat. And we have also created an environment for farmers to take their maize to NCPP and be stored there to wait for the time when the prices are okay. We believe that this arrangement will be able to provide enough food for the country during the time when this unexpected rain delay will be, like the El Nino, which I understand because of climate change is likely to come. But we are prepared.
We are prepared.
We are very prepared.
So are you saying in this particular platform that we will not see food donations? Because we have been witnessing that for so long. You know, we go through a drought, we have food donations, we get the water, we get the rains, we get into floods, we still do food. It feels as if it's a vicious cycle. But now are you giving an assurance that we will not be called upon by Kenyans and also be informed by government that we are doing food donations because of this?
No, you still need to have food donation because there are areas you will not avoid. Yes, there are areas whereby they face serious weather challenges, like the dry areas, the semi-arid and arid areas, whereby their crops were swept away during the long rain season. We lost close to around 160,000 hectares of crops, which affected close to around 10,000 families. So that you expect a little bit of donation in those areas. Because,
in those areas?
Yes, because whichever way you try.
So we do not have the capacity to store food?
But not that big, the big challenge we used to have.
Now, Bwana PS, as we bring this to a close, 2 questions we've been asking Kenyans about the cost of living, the cost of food especially, and if they have interacted with the various government projects under your docket. We are bringing this to a close. What would you tell a Kenyan farmer who doesn't want to continue farming because they're not earning? They'd rather be middlemen instead of actually doing the work. Secondly, what would you tell a Kenyan who is watching right now and he is still of the opinion that government needs to do more to ensure that they spend less when they're buying food? As we come to a close, I know we are looking forward to the centenary celebrations coming up in terms of tea and coffee, but this is a conversation that we're likely to go. But those are my 2 questions for you tonight. That is your camera. Talk to Kenyans and farmers directly.
So first of all, we are really addressing a very critical program and sector in this country, farming. And as we discussed about it, as I mentioned, over time, the sector has not been given a lot of attention. But with this administration, and looking at the program before this administration, which are on focus, farmers will be they will benefit most from this administration. And I think, Regina, you have seen that, and the farmers have witnessed, because I've also traversed the country to check what's happening on the ground. Yes, farmers used to be very frustrated because, one, they produce, but there is no market. Or there is a market, but there is no value for their, what we call their sweat. But looking at the plans in the market structures we have put in place, you have heard about aggregation centers, so that farmers are able also to store their products and they get a common market where the government can facilitate it. So with the aggregation center in place, which we are putting in place in almost every county and every sub-county and almost every village, and trials in place to support farmers and training in place to support farmers, then I think the future of our farmers is very bright. And therefore, the chances of many brokers in between, you are calling it middlemen, will soon disappear and the benefit will be for the farmers. That is an assurance. And I think in the steps we have taken into place as a ministry, it is a clear indication that farmers are getting value for money, for their sweat. You look at, for example, maize. The production for maize per bag used to be close to 2,000 Kenyan shillings per pack because of the high cost of fertilizer and farm input. But now we are talking about close to 1,000 shillings per 90 kilogram pack, and we are buying at close to 3,500. That is on itself is a clear indication that there is production in there is profit in farming, and there are more farmers to really affirm that. We have realized more farmers registering in the system than before. So there are more farmers coming into the e-subsidy program because they have seen it is productive, it is profitable. They have seen from the crops that the fertilizers we have supplied are fertilizers which have really created huge impact in terms of production. There is high production in many farms. So that one alone is also an assurance to our farmers that all is well in farming. Coming back to the big debate on tea, which I think as a government we have put up structures to also bring back the tea sector to its status, because it's one of our economic pillar when it comes to GDP. What has happened? We have made sure that the fertilizers for farmers for tea is also subsidized. We have also made sure that we put up what is called value addition, the common user facility, so that our tea are not sold in huge volume, but we provide value addition for small scale farmers, so that our tea are packed into small packets which you can really identify with the country or with the producers. And therefore the cost of it will assist farmers in terms of what is called earnings. What has also happened, we have also moved ahead and ensure that the structures in tea marketing, from the brokers, the buyers in Mombasa, which we have had a lot of meetings, we have met and see how best can we really look for better market for tea. And as we talk now, we have a tea trade mission to make sure that we go out and look for markets for tea farmers as we address matters to do with quality. So we are on course. Now next week, this week is a big day from Thursday to Friday on matters to do with the celebration of the century. The 100 years tea has been made commercial in this country from the year 1924, where Kenya started making tea to be commercial. If you saw last week, you know, I need to mention that we were in one of the factories in Nyeri, Korakati, whereby it is the oldest small-scale smallholder factory. To celebrate their age, their culture, and really say now we are on matters tea.
We will discuss tea come next week. But over and above, Bwana PS, Kenyans are saying food is still expensive. Talk to us.
All right. When you say tea, food is still expensive,
yes,
we have seen what is called facts and figures.
Yes. As we come to a close, like your parting shot.
Yes, we have seen what is called facts and figures from the statistics. The cost of living has really gone down. The cost of food, you have seen maize has gone down drastically. You have seen the value chain like vegetable, rice has gone down, sugar has gone down. Those are what we call, and wheat flour. We are seeing, if you look at our food basket, those are the major components of what we call put food on the table. Now, the only element, the component which had a challenge, which we agree, is the edible oil, which we are on course in terms of plan, and you have seen our focus to make sure that that sector, that particular product is really, we produce in Kenya to make it also, to bring the cost down.
And in 3 months, we will be here again to check if that actually
So in
works.
average, in average, Regina.
We'll check.
I think we need to talk big about the sector in future, because it has really transformed this country.
Yes.
It is the base for our economy. And that is why when you see our economy, the inflation has come down to 2.7%.
2.7%.
It's in that facts and figures, and it is in that a celebration. Why? Because the base of our economy, which is agriculture, is doing well. It is working.
We will put you to task once again
working.
in April. Well, that puts a cap on our conversation tonight. We've been having none other than Principal Secretary Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono, taking us through the breakdown, what is actually being done under better to ensure that you and I can afford our 3 square meals, and on top of that, a surplus to come and commercialize that, right? We take a quick breather. We'll be back with more. Still watching The Shift on Prime Edition here on KBC Channel 1. Do not go away.
You are watching The Shift with Regina Manyara.
Je, ungependa kuwa mshindi na Lucky Box? Ni rahisi sana.
Bonyeza *4
*463# uwe mshindi.
Kuna vitu vingi sana vya kushinda
kama vile TV, kuka, washing machine, fridge, kipiki, pesa na hata gari. Na sio gari tu, Subaru.
Na kuna jackpots kadha wa kadha. Kuna power jackpot ya 1.9 million,
mega jackpot 2.5 million
na super Sunday ya 3 million Kenya shillings. Kila mtu anaweza kuwa mshindi. Bonyeza *463#. Uwe mshindi.
Kuchagua box ni kuchagua chapa.
Kumbuka, kila unapocheza Lucky Box unasaidia watoto kusoma.
Yani, this is how you are thanking me, eh? Kweli wewe na Fuda hakuna hata tofauti.
Do you know how to play your cards? Sema kujitetea.
What is so big with the word mysterious?
Ajito tell them that is a very small word, by the way.
Kamene, I usually admire your English.
Okay, exposure is a good thing. Kamene, okay, look at Julia. You see those little colored strings and materials on her hair? Oh, tule tuvitu tuambulange. Now, look at my hair. Do you see such?
Kiswahili gani sasa pala? Ile marimu.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women. We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they are standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you running?
Tumefanyiwa hot bomb. Unasema yako kwa na blow dry. Umechomeka huku kote.
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision. You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood every Sunday at 4 p.m. on KBC TV for Dada's Show.
Je, ungependa kuwa mshindi na Lucky Box? Ni rahisi sana.
Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi.
Tuko duniani kulingania dini ya Uislamu kwa watu duniani.
Na waumini wote wa Kiislamu basi watakuwa ni wenye kupata al-izza wal sharaf, yani kuwa na fahari na kuwa katika kiwango cha daraja ya juu.
Turudi katika dini, mafundisho ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala katika Qur'ani.
Kila mtu anaweza kuwa mshindi. Bonyeza *463#. Uwe mshindi.
Kuchagua box ni kuchagua chapa.
Kumbuka, kila unapocheza Lucky Box unasaidia watoto kusoma.
Welcome back. Now, Kenya is pushing for more climate financing and the adoption of green energy solutions during the ongoing Conference of Parties meeting in Baku, Azerbaijan. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says Kenya has already lined up various climate-resilient projects that are mature for investment, especially in energy and transport. Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary spoke to Brian Kimani on the sidelines of the ongoing COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan.
Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are here at the COP29 in the city of Baku, and I'm now joined by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who will be presenting Kenya's position tomorrow at the plenary. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. What message is Kenya taking to COP29?
Thank you. First of all, I'm here leading the delegation on behalf of President William Ruto, and I've just chaired a session on two critical initiatives, the AGII initiative and the APRA initiative. And one of the things that President Ruto focuses on, and that is the government position and Kenya's position, is that we need to accelerate investment in a practical sense. The resources should not just hang out as commitments or pledges, but it is time that we see actual projects on the ground, we see actual implementation. And we want this support to come in concessionary terms. So this is the angle that we are pushing, so that Africa can benefit, and we can have serious initiatives in the green area, green energy, green shipping, green investments that can add genuine value to practical issues, and that people can start feeling the whole aspect of what is the COP or climate agenda all about. People want to see practicality on the ground, and that is what we are pushing for.
Kenya last year held a very successful African Climate Summit that came up with the Nairobi Declaration. And part of that was to upscale investment in green projects.
Absolutely.
Are you likely to pitch for some of the projects?
Yes, definitely. We want to. There are an array of projects. Kenya, I think, has got a series of projects, whether in the energy sector, whether in agriculture, aspects that are climate resilient or dedicated to dealing with the climatic changes. So when we had the Nairobi Declaration, countries are eagerly waiting. And the push we have now, because the theme here is basically about unlocking the finances and upscaling the finances for climate change.
I know Kenya, has been touted as one of the leading green energy hubs in Africa. Are there other green projects that Kenya will be floating probably to probable investors?
Yes, we are at 93% green energy. So clearly, we are on the right track. We are yet to attain the 100%, and we hope to do so in the next few years. But there are a lot of other issues. We can upscale climate resilient agriculture and improve on our food production. For instance, we can invest more in research around Kenya seed, production of climate resilient seeds. We can improve on fertilizer. All these are areas that we can invest in and make it green favored, and that will help us.
Very good. And what is your message to Kenyans at home?
Oh, my message to Kenyans is that climate change and the challenges of climate are real. We should not take them for granted. It is real.
Very good.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Very good. That is Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who is representing the Kenya, or who is leading the Kenyan delegation here at the COP29, giving us the position of Kenya and the agenda that Kenya is likely to advance here at the COP29. My name is O'Brien Kimani. This is what we are doing here at the COP29, giving you different perspectives. Back to you in Broadcasting House.
From Baku back home, now there is need for the youth to focus on comprehensive skill development to harness the immense income-generating opportunities online. Here's Travangendo with the details.
Traditional employment avenues are shrinking, leaving many young people without stable jobs. With over 700,000 graduates entering the job market annually and facing limited formal job opportunities, a portion of them are turning to the gig economy as an alternative. However, while this shift offers temporary reprieve, gig work presents its own challenges, including job insecurity and limited social protections.
As a nation, we find ourselves at crossroads, where technology, innovation, and shifting labor markets present both challenges and opportunities.
Gig workers not being paid adequately and also being exploited. These are young people who are just trying to make a living, but yet they are confronted with the issues of actually what we call profitability for other players coming from remote locations who actually cannot be able to support them as they should. Which means that policy that is designed around getting government support in order to change the environment to make it possible for these young people to work is imperative.
They're recommending policy review and expansion of access to digital resources to empower the youth to tap online income-generating opportunities.
We need our young people to have the right skilling, to be adaptable, to work on multiple platforms, to work for international clients, that they're just as good, just as qualified, and just as capable as that young person in the US.
This tension lies in the need to balance the growth and potential of the digital gig economy sector with the imperative to protect and empower gig workers.
The scarcity of permanent jobs will encourage our young unemployed people to move into the gig economy as independent workers, gig workers, or freelancers.
Other interventions in the digital economy policy guide include the establishment of a tripartite forum to set industry standards, a multi-purpose gig worker registration platform, and incentivizing businesses to invest in dignified gig work. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Now, the government has been urged to offer incentives and subsidies for companies that partner with farmers and contract farming agreements to ensure stability of supply chains. Now, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance CEO Carol Kariuki says the move will ensure stable income for farmers and increase the success rate of contract farming in the country.
Lack of access to markets, low yields, post-harvest losses and knowledge gaps are threats affecting farmers. With a focus on reducing the losses farmers face while handling farm produce, the private sector is calling for incentives to attract investments in infrastructure development to support agriculture.
We in the private sector and KEPSA have been doing is also to step up in some areas where government has not had capacity, like extension officers, offering credit, affordable credit to these small farmers, offering trainings and also offering the right seeds that they can produce for those market, for the market they need to sell, whether they're selling locally or it's international market.
The State Department of Agriculture is scaling up capacity building programs for farmers on value addition and market access through extension officers.
What we are now trying to do in the ministry, we are trying to subsidize some commodities like fertilizer to ensure that even if they are in this contract, the benefit or other profit they get is much higher than when the fertilizer is not subsidized.
He says the government has partnered with various private sector entities seeking to sign contractual agreements with the farmers.
We are also introducing something. In fact, we launched some of them last week on Friday. Agripreneurs want to bring in young professionals who are now available to talk to our farmers so that the capacity we are talking about, it can be what? It can be built very fast and then they do the contract.
Harry was speaking during the International Conference on Contractual Farming, where stakeholders called for stronger and more targeted policies and legal frameworks on contract farming.
Most of farmers don't have direct access to the input. This is fertilizer, pesticide. So if farmers are contracted in a way that they are given these products, most of their work would go to a pay, and that there will be less wastage on this.
Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Now we cross over to Matters Sports with Daniel Wahome.
Hii season hatuchezi tu, tunasaidia na tunashinda. Kupitia *570# na kuchagua option number 4, you stand a chance ya kujishindia this beautiful, sleek Toyota Probox. With a 1500cc engine, fuel consumption iko chini. Exterior iko sawa, and let's not forget, iko na a spacious boot. Iko na sound system mzuri sana with speakers on both sides, phone holder na touchscreen monitor. Ukijishindia hii gari, there is so much you can do. Kama ni kuendea stock sokoni, hii gari itakufaa. Kama ni transportation, iko sawa. Dial *570#, chagua option number 4 na utomoke na this Toyota Probox hii December.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the Football Kenya Federation county elections will now take place on Thursday, the 14th of November, according to the Electoral Board, after the stay orders which barred them from holding elections last Saturday were lifted. Now, the Kenya Football Association, a body that had filed an injunction at a Kitui High Court, had conservatory orders barring the Electoral Board from holding any elections related to activities pending a hearing today. The county branch elections, which had been scheduled for last Saturday, did not therefore take place as planned, and the High Court in Kitui has now lifted the injunction, paving way for the Electoral Board to go on with the polls. Now, on to rugby, where the Kenya Lioness are back in the country from Accra, Ghana, where they qualified for the World Rugby Challenger Series after they finished runners-up to South Africa in the Africa Women's Cup Sevens. Meanwhile, the Kenya Simbas, on the other hand, are scheduled to leave tonight for Kampala, where they will face the Uganda Cranes in the second leg of the Elgon Cup, scheduled for this Saturday. The Simbas beat Uganda 27-25 in the first leg, played at the RFA grounds over the weekend. A win saw Kenya leapfrog Uganda in the latest World Men's Rugby rankings, led by South Africa's Springboks. The Kenyan team has been training in Kakamega and are determined to defend their title against a stubborn Uganda who have vowed to fight tooth and nail to dethrone them. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers resume tomorrow as the quest for the remaining slots takes center stage. With 2 rounds to go, 7 countries have already secured their tickets to the continental showpiece, among them the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who will be away to Namibia tomorrow at the Orlando Stadium in South Africa.
Wins in Group J booked their place in the 2025 African Cup of Nations after they beat Kenya by a solitary goal in the return leg, having won 4-1 at home. They were held to a barren draw away to Zimbabwe, but hoped to at least find the back of the net this time against Namibia to consolidate their lead. Zimbabwe, who are second in group with 8 points, are in contention to book their remaining slot if they beat Kenya on Friday at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. Kenya must win that match to harbour any hopes of progressions, with their last fixture awaiting them against Namibia. They are third in Group F with 4 points, while Namibia are pointless and out of contention for qualification. Chad and Sierra Leone will go to head tomorrow in Group G, which is led by Elephants of Ivory Coast, while Togo will face Liberia in a must-win Group E clash. The 25th edition of the African Cup of Nations will be held from 21st of December to 18th of January 2026, with Algeria, Angola, Burkina Faso, DR Congo, Egypt, Senegal and Cameroon having booked their tickets so far.
That man, Aboya, came dancing.
And remember, when it comes to qualification for the Africa Cup of Nations, KBC is your true sports partner. Zimbabwe versus Kenya, Friday, the 15th of November 2024 at 7 p.m. Do not miss that. Now, moving on, is that the Kenya Prison Service and the National Heroes Council have pledged to work for possible areas of collaboration and partnerships in various fields, including sports and positive change of society. This was said during a ceremony to hand over the citation of honor to the Kenya Prison Service Sergeant Stella Musyoka for her contribution to the growth of female karate and coaching in the country.
Sergeant Stella Musyoka is the first female black belt karateka in the Kenya Prison Service, the first female national referee, as well as a coach of the prisons team, who has inspired the future generation of ladies in the sports arena and brought honor to the service, according to the Deputy Commissioner General of Prisons, Jen Kiri.
We still have so many other different types of sporting activities in the Kenya prisons whereby people can be recognized as heroes, and that is where the National Heroes Council come in.
The National Heroes Council CEO Charles Wambia challenged those who had been honored to continue doing the positive charge in the society, while hailing Stella's achievement as a testament to her dedication, skill and unyielding spirit.
We've been taken through her coming up to have achieved the black belt. It's not an easy thing, and we believe that we are telling all heroes, anything you've done, don't stay with it. Go out there and make it good for the nation.
The heroes who have been recognized like Stella can also start clubs in our staff line to be able to assist our small children who live in the staff line in regards to developing their talents.
Sergeant Mosioka, on the other hand, said she will continue to encourage more women to join the sport for their empowerment.
I'm planning to go to schools because right now the CBC is allowing for sports to be introduced into the schools, but karate has not been on the limelight.
The president of Tongel Modo, Clarence Mokio, who was in attendance, said they are working hard to ensure they develop the sport in the forces.
We really need so many female instructors. The entire northern corridor of Africa is mostly populated by Muslims, and their culture encourages that ladies are trained by female instructors.
During this year's Mashujaa Day celebration in Kwale County, President William Ruto honored 142 heroes and heroines for their outstanding contributions to nation building in various sectors. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And that's the sport for tonight. My name is Daniel Home. Thank you for being with us. And tomorrow, more details coming through, because we know there is a Kenyan sports person being awarded. Who's going to be the sports personality of the month? Hold it out. We'll be telling you tomorrow. But right now, we hand you over to our IT team, and I simply mean Irene and Tom.
I didn't see that coming.
You didn't?
Wahome.
Daniel Wahome. Daniel Wahome. You always have to have your guard up. Thanks, Daniel. And of course, we want to thank the entire team for their patience. It's 2 minutes to the top of the hour, 11 p.m. My name is Tom Boya, bidding you farewell from Nairobi, Kenya.
I am Chumodima, our sign language expert. This hour is Anwangeshi. Earlier on, we had Susan Thuku. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. Good night. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Ungependa kuwa mshindi na Lucky Box? Ni rahisi sana.
Bonyeza *463# uwe mshindi.
Kuna vitu vingi sana vya kushinda,
kama vile TV, kuka, washing machine, fridge, kipiki, pesa na hata gari. Na sio gari tu, Subaru.
Na kuna jackpots kadha wa kadha. Kuna power jackpot ya 1.9 million,
mega jackpot 2.5 million,
na super Sunday ya 3 million Kenya shillings. Kila mtu anaweza kuwa mshindi. Bonyeza *463#. Uwe mshindi.
Kuchagua box ni kuchagua chapa.
Kumbuka, kila unapocheza Lucky Box unasaidia watoto kusoma.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheza loto, shinda pesa moto.
Your name, my dear, ni nani?
Marilyn Chepkemoi.
Marilyn, kutoka maeneo gani?
Kericho County.
Brother Boss.
Yes.
The only man in the building.
Yes.
Jina nani?
Granton Kisanje.
Unatamani nini hapa?
Mimi natamani pesa.
My dear, jina nani?
Naitwa Joy Gatweri.
Kutoka area gani?
Chawala.
Joy.
Yeah.
Granton.
Yes.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
Hapa ndani iko zaidi ya what you guys want. Ndio maana nimeweka hapa fruit salad. Imeiva kabisa. Iko kifuniko ya choo. Hapo ndani nimeweka double door fridge. Mzinga kubwa kabisa. Sawa sawa. Hapa ndani nimeweka mpaka shopping ya Christmas na 25,000 Kenyan shillings. Hapa ndani bado iko surprise ya Christmas ambayo hata wewe mtazamaji hautaijua. Hapa ndani iko 100,000 Kenyan shillings na iko 200,000 Kenyan shillings. Red Santa, msema kweli, fungua hii maneno. Christmas imeanza. Waonyeshe 1,100 iko wapi? Waonyeshe shopping ya Christmas iko wapi? Pia iko 6 burner cooker. Nani anatamani kuanza Christmas yake mapema? By kuchagua sanduku yake.
Wacha niwe wa kwanza.
Wacha huyo wa kwanza. Njoo. Granton, kuja.
Yes.
Wanasemanga ladies first, si ndio?
Yes.
Lakini wamekataa, si ndio?
Yeah.
Nataka kuchukua hiyo 200.
Asante.
1,100 ndio hii. Najua inaweza kusaidia mahali, si ndio?
Yeah.
200,000 ambao wanadada wamekataa. Chapa hiyo fursa wa kwanza, si ndio?
Asante.
Chagua sanduku yako. Merry Christmas Yanse. Granton.
Yes.
Nikupe nini utoke hapo?
Sinipe chochote.
Na kulazimisha na shilingi 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Na kulazimisha nayo. Unaichukua ama unaiwacha?
Niko hapa.
Napenda 10. Sababu yako kuchukua sanduku namba 5 ni gani?
Iko na pesa.
Iko na pesa. $12,000 Kenyan shillings. Granton?
Hapa.
13, 14. Najua unataka nimalize hii pesa niweke hapa. 14,000.
Iko hapa.
15,000.
Hapana.
Granton, are you sure hautoki kwa hiyo sanduku?
Mimi niko hapa.
Granton, hautaki kujaribu ingine?
Niko hapa.
Iko sanduku iko kwa akili yako. I'm not asking you kuenda kwa hiyo sanduku, but tamka ni gani? Tamka tu ni gani?
Hey.
Kwama hapa basi. Umesema hii? Ndio unafikiria?
Ndio nafikiria.
Walika sanduku namba 6. Akiwacha, mmoja wenu aichukue. Sawa? Mmoja wenu aichukue. Christmas imenona hapa na unawacha. Granton. Uko sure unachukua hii? Kwa mara ya 3. 15,000 unawacha. Mara ya 2 nauliza Granton. Unachukua final Granton. Unachukua sanduku namba 6, unachukua zangu 15 ama unageuza sanduku ingine. Final, final, final.
Niko hapa.
Merry Christmas. Unajua umechukua nini? Fungua hiyo sanduku. Fungua. pale. Kuna bahasha hapo ndani?
Niko.
Shikilia. Rudi mwenyewe. Nani anakuja wa pili? Barabara ishafunguliwa.